Ban. We're still in the introduction to the letter. But Rav Dan Segel, the Mashkiach of our generation, the Gadol Ador of Musar, he says something beautiful. And that is, it's brought down, a person needs to teach his kids, train them, develop them with Yirat Shamayim. And this letter that Rav Dan Segel says we should read in our generation to get the full benefit out of it. The Ramban says you should try to read it every week, but he says we should read it every day because we're... my other cousin, Sean, not you, was complaining about the terrible immodesty. We're in a morally bankrupt society. There's no shame. That's why Harav Ovadia Yosef's Rebbe, Harav Ezra Atiyah, Zichrono Livracha, says a person needs to learn Zohar in Chokle Yisrael every day because we need to get energized. People don't even blush anymore. They've lost the whole value of modesty and humility, you know. For us, it's the crown jewel.
Modesty, you mean for the ladies?
Yeah.
And also for men also?
Yeah.
But mostly for the ladies.
Yeah, no. My Rosh Hashiva Zatzal Rav Weinberg from Mary Shul said that's the biggest mistake people make about tznius. They think it's only for women. Men also need to be... Men. Yeah, men also men okay, let's do this because we have a lot of things to talk about. And we have to give a major share on the Haggadah. So he says, Kishem sheyetzer ha'adam ra min orav. We know that when do you get your even inclination? Oh, I want to also mention this because this is something very important that a lot of people don't know. What are you made of? What am I made of? Every human being has 4 energies inside of him.
Totally 4 energies?
Yeah. His soul, which is his neshama, that you get already at the 40th day.
40th day of when? Inception? Of
Inception, yeah.
I don't think so. It's 13 years old when you get to
No, that's the Yetzer HaTov. See, that's why I need to teach you this. Okay. It's a common misconception. The Ramchal...
You know better.
The Ramchal clearly says this. Anybody that learns Kisvei Ramchal and Chazal learns it the proper way will know this. Each one of us is made up of 4 things. And they come at different stages. Your body is developed when the sperm hits the egg, right? So that's called your goof.
When? At the first stage?
The first
stage of inception.
Yeah, embryonic inception.
Oh, okay.
Then you have something else which comes at the 40th day in its complete form. That's your neshama, which is a spark.
Really? Wait, so the neshama doesn't enter the body until the 40th day?
Yeah, completely. Because that's why you could daven for it to be a boy or a girl.
Oh, at the beginning.
Yeah.
So
There are 3 levels to the neshama. The ruach, nefesh,
ruach,
and no, neshama. Chaya yechida is outside.
That's for the prophets, for Nevi'im. That's not for us.
No, everybody has chaya yechida.
No, that's only for Nevi'im.
Okay, but I don't want to...
You know better. You clarify for me.
Yeah, okay. So we have the neshama, the guf. Then we have the Yetzer HaTov.
And the Yetzer Hara.
The Yetzer HaTov, you only get it at 13, or a girl gets it at 12. Then you have the Yetzer Hara. That is not brought at its inception. That lepeta chatat rovetz. The second you come out of your mother's womb,
Yetzer Hara.
Yetzer Hara. Now the way that Zohar explains it.
Yetzer Hara at the
So let me explain to you. Okay. Yeah, let me explain to you. Okay. The Yetzer HaTov is allies on the same team as the neshama, right? The Yetzer Hara is allies with the body. But it's 4 different things, you understand?
Yes.
It's very important to understand. They come at different stages. Your Yetzer Hara, which we're going to talk about today, the second you're born, it comes. Which is contrary to your body, because your body is being formed already at the beginning.
I have a contradiction for this that you are saying. We never saw somebody, even before age of 13, they kill people or they rob people.
No, they have Yetzer. They're selfish.
So they don't have Yetzer Hara to
They do.
Before
They're selfish.
They don't do.
Yeah, one of the biggest Yetzer Haras, good question, is to be selfish. The kid is the most selfish thing in the world. And but kids get angry.
Yetzer Hara, that's the thing that drives the people to commit crimes or averot, like robbery or raping ladies or
no, that's extreme. No, the Yetzer Hara, that's just the symptom of the Yetzer Hara. The main problem of the Yetzer Hara.
Oh, that's a symptom, okay.
The main thing of the Yetzer Hara is the bad midot.
Bad midot, okay, I got you.
You understand?
Yes.
A kid always has the bad midot. They have the anger, right?
Right.
That somebody kills somebody or rapes somebody, it's a thing of being him selfish, right? He's selfish to such a degree that he's willing to take somebody else's life.
They become Russia.
You understand?
Yes.
But you understand that all these come at a different age. So Yetzer Hara comes to you the second you're born. The Yetzer HaTov only comes 13 years later. Now the Yetzer HaTov is like a good angel, is a positive energy, is different than your neshama.
Different.
Yeah, different thing.
So if the neshama
is cooperating, they're on the same team. You understand?
Right. But if neshama becomes,
let me explain to you a little bit better. Also, how does it the Yetzer, like I explained to you, the body and the Yetzer Hara are also on the same team. Why? Because the body's lazy, and the Yetzer Hara wants you to be lazy, not to get up and go pray shacharit and go learn Torah. You understand?
Yes.
So they complement each other. But we're getting a little bit off on tangent. I want to go back to the Ramban now. He talks over here, Rav Dan Segel, when he wants to explain this, he says it's very important to learn this letter with your children because you instill Yirat Shamayim to him. So the Rashi explains that we have our Yetzer Hara from when we're very young. When specifically? Like I said, when we come out of our mother's womb.
Oh, yo, boy.
So he says that's why already the Yetzer Hara is trying to form the person into a selfish, angry thing. Hold on to your question to the end. And then is trying to cause us, God forbid, to become sinful. Now Rashi again in the second paragraph over there on page Ches now. He says Rashi in Parshat Toldot says Vayigdulu hane'arim. So when it talks about Yaakov and his twin brother Esav, Kol zman shehayu ktanim, Rashi says Lo haynu karim b'ma'aseim v'medakdem b'hem mativam. They were undistinguishable, Yaakov and Esav, before 13.
According to what aspect?
They're
similar physically, exactly same face. Identical twins.
They weren't identical twins, but their mannerism, their characteristics was very similar. But it says, Kevan shenasu ben shloshes. Once they turned bar mitzvah, Yaakov Avinu went and sat the whole time in the yeshiva of his father and Shem Va'ever. And Esav went to...
Were not his father, they were Shem Va'ever, not Yitzchak.
No, he went to Yitzchak also.
Yitzchak also, okay. At the same time.
Yeah. He was at the yeshiva of Avram, Yitzchak, and Shem Va'ever.
Simultaneously.
Yeah. He would go, maybe in the afternoons he would go to one, morning another.
Oh, okay, I see, okay.
But what I want to get out is that at that specific time, once they turned bar mitzvah, it was very clear that they're opposites. Yaakov was a holy man. Esav went to idol worship. So Rav Dan Segel says something very beautiful here. He says people will understand this Rashi as that when they were young kids, okay, they were innocent. You couldn't tell the difference. Once they became bar mitzvah, they went their separate ways. But he says that there's a different way to understand Rashi. How could it be that two brothers could come out to be polar opposites?
Same father,
he says, Ela biglal sheyaldut en adam medak behem mativam. The problem is that you put the comma a different way. You have to read Rashi a different way. The question was, the answer is that when they were young, there was nobody like Balasar Shunabu. There was nobody on top of them.
Nobody dictating to them what to do.
Yeah, nobody was, even deeper than that. Nobody was looking at them under a microscope, like really being careful, being medactic. How do we translate medactic?
To be meticulous about
the
behaviors.
Noticing very carefully, meticulously their behaviors. And this is something beautiful. that is such. I was like, this is why I became in love in this sefer. Even though we were doing Chavas Avavas, I figured we'll do this because it's easier to finish. Chavas Avavas is going to take us probably 6-7 years to go through Hakdama and Shar Bechina and Shar B'tachon.
Rabbi, excuse me.
But that's going to be like a 10-year project.
Don't forget.
But this is hopefully we can finish it.
And
One second.
they should be meticulous about their
1 second. So he says, the issue over here is Rashi is teaching us a fundamental mistake a lot of people make.
A lot of parents.
Parents make, and it's the absolute opposite of Torah chinuch. How to raise a child in a Torah way. They say, Azma im hu medaber lashon hara. Why are you giving this poor little kid such a hard time? Who cares if he says lashon hara? He's a kid. Who cares if he gets angry? Who cares if he's super selfish? He says, En medaktek bahem. If the whole, from the time the kid's a little toddler, from 3 to 13, you don't really care, or you're not careful about how the kid is acting, and whatever he does,
you don't chastise him.
You don't give him reproof, you don't give him feedback, you don't reprimand him. Like in Farsi they say, Baches ya kharches. Right? Sometimes because of this attitude of ignoring everything and not sitting the kid and telling him, hey, this is not the right behavior, and excusing everything as, oh, he's just a kid, you create a monster like Esav. He says, of course, you don't give a 2-hour musar shmuz. A 3-year-old and a 10-year-old and a 12-year-old is a different approach. Of course, a little kid, you can't be like, give him a shock there. You have to give it according to him, but exactly. But to totally ignore it and just say, this is the wrong chinuch, to say just because he's a little baby, you're letting a monster become. You're letting an Esav become. And you should know, it's a Mefurish Medrash, by the way. It says in the Midrash Rabbah that if Avram and Yitzchak would have been more careful and given more musar to Yishmael and Esav, they would have become much greater people. They wouldn't have become Rishonim. It's a Mefurish Chazal.
Wow. And each one of them became the heads of the different religions.
Exactly. So
I have a question.
Can move on. Just one more paragraph, then you can ask how it goes. So he says also one of the great Gedolim of London, one of the great Talmidim of the great Goyen, which I'm a tremendous fan of, Reb Chaim Oizer, he had a great Talmud, Reb Yecheskel Abramsky. He was one of the main Gedolim of our previous generation. So he said something, this is a fascinating story, by the way. He says that from when he was 20 and he became mature, fully mature, by the age of 20, he says 1 minute he didn't waste from that time till he died. At his deathbed, he told his Talmidim that from that age of 20 till he died, whatever, 80, 90 years old, every minute, Rabbi Cheskel Abramsky was the big, he has a sefer Chazon Yecheskel on the Tosefta. He was a tremendous Goyin. He was a tremendous Gadol of London. He was Av Beis Din. He says 1 minute of his life, he didn't stop thinking about learning Torah. So then he told his Talmidim, he said, if it's so that if from 20, every single minute of my life I was engrossed in learning, till the day, he told this at the end of his life, then why didn't I become the Chafetz Chaim? He says, you see, from here, to become a Chafetz Chaim, you need to start earlier than 20. You understand? Isn't that a crazy story?
Wow.
That's how I became in love with the Sefer. So he says the Mishnah Berurah brings in Hilchot Shabbat, Siman Shin Memon Gimel, chapter, it's kedai to look up this Mishnah Berurah, chapter 343, Sifkatan Gimel. He says, for example, if a person sees that his children are saying Lashon Hara, it's a mitzvah to yell at them and reprimand them. Exactly. Divrei Chachamim, okay, maybe Chavetz Chaim wrote this 100 years ago. In our generation, nothing is going to get accomplished by yelling. He himself actually talks about how to be very calm under all circumstances. I'm actually 3-4 pages ahead of you guys.
Who teaches that?
He himself, Rav Dan Segel. But we're quoting you have to know. 100 years ago, there was a much more harsh way of training people. But what he's trying to say is, and also I just want to also say, nobody cares about a kid like a father and mother care about their kid. So 99% of people, first of all, 99% of people don't care about their child. 99% of people are not around the child all the time to see his mannerisms, right? Mm-hmm. So the Shlach Kadosh brings something out also very important. If the father doesn't give the kid musar, reprimand him, nobody else will. It's your job in the world to. That's why it says Shema Benim Musar Avicha. That's how it's the father and mother that know the kid and actually care. It's the greatest tragedy in life that people, they hate people that give them musar. But actually that shows that the person...
You should love it. If that's productive, you should...
So the Chavetz Chaim says the same way you have to, from a young age, teach your children and reprimand them not to say Lashon Hara. You should tell them not to make fights. They should not lie. They should not curse people. And he says, with our tremendous sins, many people just let the kid be. They just say, oh... You know, they like raising little monsters. But that's the problem. I tell you, I was when I was about to. I realized 23 years ago in my shul that my father gave his life savings and gave millions of dollars of his money to build a community over there in Santa Monica. I realized very quickly that we need to do kiruv. So I went to the head of NCSY.
How do you say kiruv in English?
Outreach.
Outreach.
So he told me something unbelievable. And this guy was the head of NCSY. And he had done... it's like OU's branch that does kiruv.
National Conference of Synagogue Youth, no?
Yeah. It's for like modern and high school kids that are in public school. Kids. Yeah. Like Chabad teen. So he told me something. He said that this Rabbi Goldberg, he was a big tzaddik. He told me you should know. The younger you're able to learn with them and talk to them, the easier it is to mold them.
To foster them.
Foster them, exactly. To teach them the right way.
Yeah.
As all of us know, the older the person gets, the harder it is. Like Chas v'Shalom, not for lack of a better parable, it's hard to teach an old dog new tricks. Not that Chas v'Shalom people are thing, but you know, the greatness of what we're trying to bring out, the Mishnah Berurah, our Kohen HaGadol Me'echav, Chavetz Chaim is saying is that once a person is for 50 years he's been angry, or for 50 years he's been bitter.
Bitter, what do you mean bitter?
Bitter,
grumpy?
Yeah, grumpy, and he doesn't say Gamze L'Tova, he's not positive.
Always complaining.
Yeah, he's a negative person.
Negative person, yeah.
Because the Chavetz Chaim writes in his other sefer, Shmir Saloshain, that there's 8 midot that are the source of all Lashon Hara. Which means if you fix this 8 midot...
What are those 8 midot?
I don't remember.
Outside the scope of this year.
Yeah, it's like anger and being negative. But what he says that... the Chavetz Chaim, just to finish what the Chavetz Chaim was saying, he's saying, unfortunately, when parents are careless and they don't call out their children when it becomes second nature to them to say Lashon Hara. It became second nature to say Rechilut.
Rabbi,
And he says once the kid, from the time that he's 6-7 years old to 13, he's been for 7 years of his life, he always says Lashon Hara, and then parents are like,
if they say Lashon Hara about going, which is true?
No, the Chavetz Chaim writes it's better even not to encourage that, even though halachically it's okay.
If there is no benefit for it.
Yeah, because it's the midah, right? It's making the characteristic. Manners maketh man. Your manners, your midot, your character, and your integrity, it makes you.
What does integrity mean?
Sharafet.
So
he says, unfortunately, when the parents, through not reprimanding and providing reproof to their children, the
Criticism.
child. Yeah, no, not criticism. It's just telling them in a positive way. You say a Jew only talks
constructive.
Exactly.
Okay.
It says it becomes like heter. It's like, ignorance is bliss, like I said last time. They think nothing is wrong. And he says that's why this Igeret, this holy letter of Ramban, we have to start from a young age. Right. From a young age, a kid...
Ramban. Moshe ben Maimon?
No, Nachman it is. Nachman. He says from a young age, a kid... You should know, the first part of this letter is all about kas. From a young age, a kid has to understand that is like idol worship.
Anger.
And he says, V'ha'emet nitan la'amer, shu yeled yachol. It says another big mistake. He says a lot of people. He says another big mistake.
So many times angry. How to?
I want to tell you. Let me finish it. Because this is also insight into the Haggadah Pesach. He says another big fundamental mistake parents make is they may argue, why should I tell the kid that when he's 3-4 years old not to lie or say lashon hara or cause fights? He says the truth is, and this has been proven by Harvard and scientifically, a kid's brain is like a sponge. Even a very young child has a neshama, and he can very well understand what's appropriate and not. You understand? So you have to understand that you're planting within his mind and conscience what is appropriate, what is godly, and what is saintly, and what is satanic. You understand?
Yes.
To be godly, holy, saintly, chassid, tzaddik, or what is yetzer hara. And he says that's part of why the Ramban starts his thing with Torah Timecha, because the mother, Kimasha Shaiman Nichneset B'shnot HaYaldut B'bayit, he says that's why the Ramban, he's going to explain later, it says, hear the reproof of your father, Shema Menim Musar Avicha.
How to say reproof in Farsi? No, pandadas is advice.
Yeah, but it's similar.
Okay.
But he says, Zed Davar Gadol Shel Lev. He says that's why the Rosh Yeshiva Zatzal says, it says in the Haggadah, even a young child should come and hear. Because even though you may think, this kid's only a year or two old, his neshama understands. That's why the Gemara says, Rabbi Yehuda Yehoshua, lucky is his mother. He became a tremendous rabbi. Why?
Which rabbi?
Rabbi Yehoshua, the Tana, that wrote the Mishnah.
Rabbi Yoda Anasi?
Yehoshua.
Okay.
You know why? Because his mother, even when you're in the embryo,
he was in the cradle.
Yeah, in the cradle, or even in the embryo, when you're in your mother's tummy, the child could absorb holiness.
Oh my gosh!
So that's also a fundamental mistake to say the kid's too young. Of course, a person has to know child psychology and take parenting classes. We don't go, just like we don't teach Kabbalah to somebody that doesn't know the basics, but it's never too young to show loving care by trying to make a very good, upstanding, yashar, straight human being.
Chazak.
Chazak.